Hello world, my name is DeAndre Laquarius Horton and welcome to The Message. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the origin story for why I got the message started. Now, later on towards the end of this year, it'll be 3 years since I did my first video in the message series. And for those of you who watched that first video, you know that wasn't the original title for this video project. It was The Thoughts of an Outcast. Now, in that first video, I discussed the topic of love, and when I was doing that video, I briefly, mentioned what my goal was in doing these videos and kind of why I got started in doing the videos in the first place. But I really didn't go into great detail as to why I started doing the videos. So here's why I got started doing the message. I like to look at my life up until this point in 2 phases. First phase was my birth up until the 5th grade. And the second phase of my life, I like to look at it as the 6th grade, up until present day. Now, anybody who knows me kinda knows me, I should say, they know that I have a walking disability, cerebral palsy. Now, not too many people kinda know what that is. I'm not really sure about if I could give you just a really accurate description as to what it is, but in brief, I can say that it is a brain and muscle disagreement. It's basically the brain sent a command to one side of my body with the muscles on that side that they didn't get, and therefore, because of the miscommunication, I ended up with cerebral palsy. Now, the reason I bring this up is because, growing up those first few early years in school, there were things that I wanted to be a part of and I couldn't be a part of because of my disability, or people kind of looked at me funny, or I was brushed off to the side when it came to being involved in activities due to that, due to my disability. And I was kind of bitter about it, angry, because here I was with this impairment and I wasn't able to do what the other kids were able to do. But as I got older, I was able to come to terms with it, and I accepted it. And I looked at it as, hey, yes, I have this disability, but I shouldn't let that stop me from wanting to accomplish things that I want to do. So, fast forward after the 5th grade, and we hit 6th grade, and that was middle school. And up until this point, from kindergarten on up, I had been friends with this guy. We're real close. I considered him to be a brother. I went to him with anything. I confided in him, and like I said, I thought we were real close. We were brothers almost to me. And it was right around that time in the 6th grade. Up until that point, I had no interest in talking to girls, but this was it. I had finally found interest in a girl and was getting to that point where I was starting to want to talk to girls. And I went to him naturally, as you would do with your best friend, and you tell him about this girl that you're interested in. The stuff I told him, was, like I said, I went to him in a confiding manner. I didn't know that he was not who I thought he was after all these years. Now, there was also another person I was tight with at this time. She was my female best friend. I'd been knowing her since the 1st grade, up until the 5th grade, and we'd had classes together every year from the 1st up until the 5th grades. And when we hit 6th grade, we didn't have classes together, so I didn't get to see her as much in school. So I couldn't go to her and confide in her with what I was dealing with. Uh, but back to my supposed best friend. So I went to him, told him about the girl, and after I did that, I started being ridiculed and criticized and made fun of because of who the girl was, and then because hey, it was me liking a girl for the first time. So hey, why not poke fun at this guy? Yeah. So I didn't know he was the one who was kind of spearheading the criticism and being made fun of. I did find out later on that he was kind of doing that, and that's when I realized that he wasn't who I thought he was. But while this was also going on, we kind of I was still having to deal with being excluded from things at school, and then excluded from things with the other kids that they did that were social events because hey, no one really talked to me and no one invited me out for birthday parties or anything of that nature. And so dealing with I'm already, anybody who knows me, I'm not this huge social butterfly. I'm reserved. I'm a bit shy. And I have this anxiety when it comes to people naturally. It's gotten better, over the years because I've become more outspoken, because I've decided to take an initiative with the issues that go on in the world, and be a activist and advocate. But right now, I mean not right now, but back then at that point, I wasn't there yet. And so because of this, my anxiety and being a social misfit, and then here was my situation, and I was being made fun of because I was doing something that just anybody else does. They like somebody, and so they wanted to talk to them. But because of being made fun of and other things, I got depressed. And my 6th and 7th grade years is where it really, had a toll on me. And it got so bad to a point that one night, I'm here at home and, just thinking about all the things that I've had to endure because of it. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this is it. I can't take this anymore. And I just wanted to give up. I seriously started thinking like, hey, the people who I care about, or the family, all of those people that I have a tremendous great deal of love and respect for, they'd be better off if I wasn't here. I just wanted to disappear. But as I was going through that, sitting up here that particular night and going through this whirlwind of emotions, after I had that sort of breakdown where I looked at things and just thought about giving up, it was at that moment when I had that moment of self-doubt and just was like, okay, I'm done. I also had a moment of clarity, and that started my road to being more aware of my surroundings with people. I said that, hey, he was obviously not who I thought he was. He didn't have my best interest at heart. He wasn't truly my best friend. So I made my mind up right then and there that I was not going to allow him or the people who were ridiculing me to have power over me in this situation. I was going to continue to live life, and I knew that eventually things would get better. And they did. I was able to find a good brother once I got in high school who's truly been my best friend and been like a brother to me. He hasn't looked at me funny or considered me different. He treats me with respect and treats me like a human being, and he knows that I am forever grateful and thankful to him for that. But the thing still lingered, and I still would have issues with my anxiety and being sociable, and wanting to open myself up to people. And I'm still like that to this day. I don't just automatically open myself up to people because I have a hard time of letting people in, because this is not just having to deal with my situation. This is just looking at things in general. People are not how they were during my parents growing up, period, or their grandparents growing up, period. People are vicious and sneaky, so I just don't automatically just open up myself for friendship to just anybody. And dealing with that situation and the things that I deal with due to my anxiety, I decided that I wanted to do these videos as a way to be therapeutic for myself while helping other people. And anybody who's watching this video, I want you to, if you ever feel like you're in that situation where the walls are closing in, or that people are not having your best interest at heart and they're just treating you terribly, I don't want you to ever feel like that you don't hold any value, or that you don't mean anything to anyone in this world. If you ever feel like that, reach out to someone, whether it is a professional, seek therapy, or if you need medication, if you just need someone to talk to, whatever it is to help you get through these things, get through it. If you need to call the suicide awareness hotline, if it's getting to that point for you, then you do that as well. I was fortunate enough, having my experience, that I was able to organize a self-help and suicide awareness and prevention seminar when I was in community college at Coastal Alabama, due to the efforts of Miss Augusta Waters and the librarian at the college, Miss Deborah Rankins. I was able to work with them. I pitched the idea to Miss Rankins, and she advised me to go to Miss Waters, who I had experience in dealing with helping high school students who deal with anxiety and social issues. She's been like a counselor and a mentor to them. So going to her, we organized an event at the college, and I called it the Golden Gateway Seminar, and it went well. And after the event, some of the students would post positive messages and encouraging words on sticky notes, and post them on the mirrors in the bathroom, so as students walked in and were leaving, they could see them. So if they ever had a bad day or were having any negative thoughts, here was some encouraging words to help motivate them to push along and through the day. And I would like to say that up until this point, that has been maybe my most favorite thing that I've ever done, because I truly believe that getting out here and doing these videos and being able to do that event, just getting out and talking to people about mental health awareness, and being an advocate and for mental health, along with the other things that I do to be an activist for civil issues. I think that it's very important, because I feel like too often that we see people wanting to sweep mental health and suicide awareness, depression. They want to sweep all three things under the rug with people who get institutionalized for being crazy. And I know that each mental health thing, it has its own factors and things to consider that it carries, but I don't feel like we should just all branch it, lump it into one thing together. I feel like that we should be more proactive in dealing with mental health and helping people find avenues to successfully have options, so they will not feel like they're alone or they're closed off to the rest of the world. And like I said, that's why I do these videos, because I want to start off by going along the route of talking about things that I saw that were important to me, the civil issues. And then when I started doing those, I said that one day eventually I was going to share my story, because I felt like more people needed to hear it. Because to me, if you get out there and you share your story, then at least there is one person who, once they hear that story, they'll know that, hey, I'm not in this alone, that there's someone out here who has had to deal with and be faced with the same issues and problems that I have. And they'll say, well, hey, there's people out there that are just like me. So, as I said, I dealt with that in middle school, and I still have, as I said, these issues from time to time, but I'm better about it now. And I dealt with it still all throughout high school and even in my 2 years at community college, because the one thing that ever since that has happened to me that I have noticed and started paying attention to is how people treat other people. And I realized that I'm different. I'm not like most people. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I told her that I often feel like I am either, you could say, that one piece to a puzzle, that when you're working on a puzzle it just doesn't quite fit, or that I am someone who was either born 20 years too early or 20 years too late for his generation. Because that's just the way I feel. I feel like I am that guy that is out there on an island by himself, but I do know that I'm not the only one who feels like this or thinks the way that I do. Because it just seems like to me that we're seeing less and less of the human capacity to be sympathetic and empathetic towards someone and actually love and care about them. Because it seems to me that we see more and more of people in my generation having their priorities in certain places, and then they alienate people who they consider to be friends, and we never know what a person is truly dealing with. And so then when this comes up and we see these things, whether it's in school shootings where they characterize a shooter as being depressed, or we do see someone take their own life and commit suicide, and we hear that they were depressed or dealing with things, it just makes me wonder, in the case of those shooters at the schools, if someone had taken the time with them when they were younger, to show them love, and take time to care about them and be friendly to them, maybe that school shooting could have been prevented. And the same thing with people who do commit suicide. If someone had been there and been more loving, nurturing, and caring towards them, maybe they wouldn't have committed suicide and taken their life. But we need more people out there being the voices for those people, and that's what I strive to do. And like I said, that's why I started doing this project, because I wanted to connect to people. I wanted people to hear what I had to say, and when they hear my words, that maybe some of the things that I can say would resonate with them. Because I know that everything that I post, it's not going to be for everyone. And not everyone's going to like what I have to say. But I have to speak it because it's in my heart. And if it's one thing that I can say about myself, is that I wear my emotions on my sleeve. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. But I've got to be me. I've got to be 100% authentic. I know that I'm not gonna fit society's mold or the image of what most people perceive to be okay or normal in society. And hey, that's cool. But I am growing to be comfortable in my own skin and who I am. And I'm hoping that anybody who watches this video and has ever struggled with these things of self-identity and anxiety, that they can grow in being comfortable with who they are and love themselves. Because if it's one thing that I've learned, that people are few in between. They come and go. You will find those select few who truly do care about you and will stick around. So when you do find those people, hold on to them and keep them close and love them, because they are so rare. But you have to love yourself, and you got to grow into that. And if you can learn to love yourself and be comfortable with who you are, then you can do that with people, and everything else will fall into place. We cannot, be so concerned with other people, because I have learned too by observing people. I said, it's a lot of people that you'll find out that they're not who you thought they were. There's people that you'll find out that will rather believe something that was said about you that isn't true than coming to you and trying to sort something out to see what is true and what is false. And then there are just people who are just want to believe a story that was created just because they like drama, or they just want to believe in the story instead of trying to see what is actually real. So my thing is, for those of you who are out there who feel like they're outcasts or weirdos or quirky, don't let that stuff stop you from chasing your dreams and wanting to have goals that you want to accomplish. People are going to be people, and they're going to always be those of us that they want to put on the island and consider us to be the misfit toys. But hey, that's okay. Like I said, learn to love yourself. And if you can learn to love yourself and appreciate who you are and not be so concerned with what a lot of people think of you, then you will be better off. Because mental health is a real thing. Being depressed is a real thing. Having anxiety is a real thing. Not being sociable is real. And even wanting to commit suicide, all of this is real. And so it's just one of the things that I hold near and dear to my heart, because I don't want anyone ever feeling like they're at any point in their life that they don't have any value, or that they don't have any worth to offer the world or people. So don't ever feel like that. Recognize that you are beautiful, talented, worthwhile, and that you were put here for a specific purpose. You were made by a creator who saw something in you. So please keep that in mind when you feel down about yourself, or you feel like people disrespect you, or you're invisible, or that you're being underappreciated or undervalued. Know that there are people out here who feel the same way you do, and that at the same time there are people who see you for who you are and see what you're trying to do, and they appreciate that and they respect that. Because I'm one of those people who I do feel like most of the people that I care about, they don't see me. I'm invisible to them, or they don't really pay attention to what I have to say. But I'm still gonna love them, I'm still gonna care about them, and I'm gonna still, tell them what I feel is on my heart. Because at some point, hey, maybe what I say, it'll sink into them, or they'll call, or it'll be a callback for them when they're dealing with something later on down the road in life. Ultimately, I just want all of us to try to be a little bit nicer to people, because I think that if we do that, if we show more love and be more compassionate, then the darkness that hovers over some of us wouldn't be as prevalent. I want to see us, those of us who are the outcast and feel like we're just brushed off by society, I want to see us, we start speaking out. I want to see us doing that. But first and foremost, I want us to have acumen of tremendous mental health. And then I want us to love ourselves. If we can do those two things, get healthy in the mind and learn to love ourselves from within, then hey, nobody can stop you. The sky is the limit, and truly, what is for you will be for you, and can't no one take that from you. That'll be all for this video, and hey, you guys finally know why I started doing the message in the first place. So if you want to see any of the other videos I have done, feel free to check out my YouTube channel at DeAndre Horton, or see them on my Facebook page here at DeAndre Lacorius Horton. Or if there's anything that you would like to see me talk about, feel free to get in touch with me or contact me through any of my social media platforms. And as always, This is DeAndre Laquarius Horton signing off with the message.